Welcome inside our CBS Sports Studios in New York. I'm Adam Shine alongside the great Kyle Long. And Kyle, it's been a long time since the Philadelphia Eagles actually lost a football game. Got to go back to week 16 of last year. This was bad. Jalen Hurts did not play well in any way, shape, or form. Saquon Barkley did not get the football on the ground. They completely abandoned the run. Denver, 14 unanswered in the fourth. This was a terrific win by Denver in comeback fashion. This was kind of a brutal loss here for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, well, I'll start off with the tip of the cap to Sean Payton.
Yep.
Going for two, classic vintage Sean Payton. And shout out our guy Avi, who's called it. He was like, he's going to go for two, and then he does. And obviously the Broncos end up winning the football game. But as for the Eagles, this reminds me of last year's Kansas City Chiefs. Except for the fact that now that the Eagles have a loss, they're not going to have that unblemished, highly questioned record like we saw with the Chiefs last year. But being that you are the team that wears the crown from last year's Super Bowl, you're going to have these questions week in, week out. I give a tremendous amount of credit to the offensive line for battling. They have been injured, okay? And you saw Landon Dickerson get rolled up today. We've talked about Lane Johnson being in and out of the lineup. And just those two guys alone, if they go down, it's a huge red flag. A lot of warning lights go off in that offense if you don't have those two guys. Obviously, Landon Dickerson, fantastic mauler, point of attack guy at left guard. Lane Johnson, a mute button at the right tackle. And at times today, you saw him out there looking like himself. But if you have a disjointed offensive line in Philadelphia, your identity goes out the window. Mike Tyson was good at an uppercut. If you don't allow him to do the uppercut and force him to actually box in a different way, it's not Mike Tyson anymore. It's still a very good fighter, right. Someone you should respect and be afraid of. And they are figuring out how they are going to have to play offense if they do not have that super group of five up front. And obviously they still have those guys, but I'll tell you what, as an offensive lineman who had to play hurt, it's not the same. You're not getting the same version of me. So I give credit to those guys for battling while they're hurt. As far as the Saquon Barkley stuff goes, look, it goes back to the O-line. If the O-line's not out there, Saquon's not going to be showcased in the same way. But they found a way to get Saquon involved. We saw the wheel route touchdown, and he beat the man coverage linebacker Singleton. Those are the mismatches you're going to have to find, and Patullo is going to have to continue to get an understanding of what works, what guys like, what guys don't like. I heard it from quarterbacks all morning and all week on television. They think that the things that they're asking A.J. Brown to do is elementary. Slants, go routes, stop routes. I was talking to Matt Ryan this morning. He's like, let him run the deep post. Let him split the safety, run some of that stuff. I understand the frustration. We saw Devontae Smith make some big plays today. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to stop the Denver Broncos when it's crunch time. And the Denver Broncos found a way, thanks to Sean Payton, with some of his really slick play calls there at the end. You saw the fake toss to the left, flip to the right for the first down. That stuff's great. And I give credit to Bo Nix as well. Not a very good first half. A much better second half. And that's what it takes on the road when you're playing against the perennial Super Bowl champions in the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm not panicking on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is playing a version of football right now that the 31 other teams in the National Football League have to play every week without an all-pro offensive line.
All right, let me panic a little bit because I have not had good vibes here for the Philadelphia Eagles all season long. And you know the stat. We haven't seen an NFC East repeat winner for the division in 20 years. Sometimes stats lie. That, to me, is noteworthy. I don't think that's random or fluky either, because think about those markets. New York, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Philly. There's a lot of pressure, media pressure, fan pressure, internal pressure. Then you have dissension in Philadelphia. They're up 17-3. That game should be over today. Barkley only gets 6 carries in the game. They asked Jalen Hurts to win it for him. That's not his bag. He can't do that. This, to me, is officially a situation, if we're talking about, okay, will they, A, win the division again? B, are they going to win another Super Bowl, which is the standard in Philadelphia? There were a couple of bad penalties in this one. Baun, that was a terrible penalty, and he's such a smart ball player, Kyle. That's one that is just unacceptable. The late hits, that's you just can't do that in a spot like that. I'm very disappointed in what I've seen. Look, Tampa had that comeback. Dallas could have won week 1. Lamb had the drops instead of the chops.
Oof.
You take a look at what happened against the Rams, give them credit. LA had a monster lead. They were up 19 in that one. I know the record says 4-1. Boy, I am not feeling the Philadelphia Eagles. If the standard's a parade, I'm not there on these Eagles.
I mean, it's going to be an uphill fight all year for this team. They are just not as dominant on both sides of the ball as they have been historically. I mean, the team that we saw in the Super Bowl, they just ain't out there right now, even though a lot of the guys are the same.
And a different play caller.
A different play caller is huge, obviously. But look, it all comes back to the offensive line, Adam, because that's the superpower offenses have. When we got a lead, a multi-possession lead, we should be able to bleed these guys out, suck the life out of the stadium, out of the opposing defense, move the chains incrementally. And the other thing, you pointed it out, the Zach Baun penalty. That's so uncharacteristic of a Vic Fangio defense. So well coached. I want to use the phrase mild-mannered. They're smart, okay? They're not going to do anything stupid. You do that, you give a freebie to this Denver Bronco offense in crunch time, you deserve it.
You look at the schedule coming up. They have the Giants twice over the next 3 weeks.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's not easy to...
Division opponents are tough, but I'll tell you what. That Giants team, they're leaking a little bit after today with all the turnovers. So the Eagles are going to look to take out their frustration on somebody. Who better than the Giants?
We'll see who plays quarterback for Minnesota. A little Carson Wentz revenge spots. We'll see. By the way, after the bye, they have Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
They have Detroit, Dallas, a Bears team that is moving in the right direction for Chicago.
A Chargers team who's not
Chargers.
afraid of anybody. This is life in the National Football League. If you are not the most dominant team, every single one of these games on the schedule says, oh, man, they could get us. We could get them. They could get us easily, though. We got to be on our P's and Q's. Patula's got to be better. Jalen would probably admittedly say he has to be better. Saquon Barkley obviously would like to be better.
Needs more carries.
They'd like to be a lot healthier up front. I just don't know if they have the same faith in that unit that we saw last year, where on first down, they're going to get 6 yards. On second down, they're going to move the chains. And if they don't, tush push, first down, start the drive over again, another first down.
Took us 8 minutes to mention the tush push. That might be a record for content.
Sign of the
Eagles.
times.
That's right.